It's my last day in my 40s, and maybe it's time to do a little reflection because a lot has changed in the 10 years since I turned 40. So I started my 40s out living in Southern California. I think I was living in Highland, California at the time. I was living in this beautiful old home that had a parlor and a root cellar, 2 kitchens, 2 outhouses, and the most amazing, huge pomegranates. I was still married and had 6 children at home, and living in a home that was just kind of noisy and chaotic with kids and everything. And now I'm here. I'm in Michigan, just outside of Detroit. It's just me and the youngest in a much smaller home that I absolutely love. A lot has changed for me. A lot changed for me in my 40s. I was separated, ultimately went through a divorce after 21 years of marriage. Moved from Southern California to Central Oregon. I was in Eugene, Oregon for a period of time. And now I'm out here in Michigan, just outside of Detroit. I'm now in school full-time studying art and design as well as art therapy. I'm trying to still build a community out here, and I am slowly doing it now. I've traveled so much in my 40s, more than I traveled all the years from my birth prior to that. I honestly believe so. I'm getting more involved in the veterans community, although a good portion of that is on the national level, but I am involved locally. This other thing in my 40s is that I really leaned more into my veteran status, more so during, right before my separation. Actually, I was in some veterans art exhibitions, so I had some art, some shows, paintings actually, and I feel like I'm an empty nester. I'm not, because I have 1 child at home, but going from having 6 children at home to 1, I think is one of the hardest transitions that I have had to deal with. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It is a blessing that I know that the 2 kids that are fully on their own, that they were able to make that transition and navigate life for themselves in that way. My oldest son is married, and they just moved into their first lovely home. Dexter and Stevie. Joaquin is in his first apartment, and he loves his job. The next 3 children all live with their dad in Oregon, and they're figuring out life, and then I got baby here. And it's kind of weird having only 1 child at home who's being raised almost like an only child because of the age difference, and also it's mostly just me and her, right? I started my 40s surrounded by people, and I'm leaving my 40s feeling so very lonely at a lot of times, but it's okay. There's a duality in having that loneliness, but also doing things that I never imagined that I would be able to do, right? Doing things on a national level and being in rooms that I didn't think that were available to me, that were open to me, or for people like me. And there's some people that I grew up with they actually lived in the little rural town that I grew up in mostly, that comment on my social media, or that I actually talk to fairly regular, that they're just in awe of me. I'm sorry. I'm getting like really emotional because I am doing so much more than I ever imagined. But I miss having my kids at home. But, you know, by the end of the year, I'll have all but one of my children will be actually adults. So I'm glad that they are living their lives the way that they are. It is still very often very hard to be so far from them. I mean, we have a group chat. We talk quite often, most of us. But it's not the same as being in person, being able to be there for them when they need me. One of the things, well, I think one of the greatest things that I have learned in my 40s is to be a little bit flexible, and knowing that and learning how to pivot really hard. A lot of you know that I moved out here to start school, and I moved out here in 2021, and I had to take time off. I got really sick, tried to go back to school immediately. It didn't really work out, and so I had to pivot. I'm learning to pivot. I've also learned a lot of things about myself, like pivoting while I can do it isn't comfortable for me. I've learned that I am neurodivergent, and navigating that has helped me a lot. But then sometimes there's certain situations where it's not. I've had to learn to take off the mask a lot, and that is hard. Somebody asked me recently, what is one thing I want to leave in my 40s as I move into my 50s? And I would like to leave self-doubt in my 40s. And because I doubt myself and my abilities quite often. And I would love to leave that in my 40s. I'd also love to leave the weight of other people's opinions about me and my life and how I live it in my 40s. What I would like to carry into my 50s is the ability to pivot. I would love to carry that into my 50s. The friendships I've made in my 40s, especially post-separation divorce, I would love to also carry them forward. I'd also love to carry forward my sense of adventure, and I would like to add into that like some whimsy. Like, I don't feel like I'm as whimsical as I would like to be. Like, I would like to do that. I would like to do some new things and try some new things and meet new people, but that might include having to first meet new people in real life, outside of school. I do have people on campus that I talk to pretty regularly. Some of them that we've done things outside of school, but I'm doing more like outside of school things. I would also like to be things that are newer. The things that I would like to continue trying to do is be more organized. I am not very organized in certain areas of my life, and that's so upsetting to me. In my 50s, I would like to accomplish building more financial stability for myself and baby girl. I would like to get my master's degree. That's something that is very important to me. I would like to have all my kids together in one place. in more than one occasion, and one of those times I would like to be here. Since moving out here and having all the kids like in the Pacific Northwest outside of baby girl, only one of them has made an effort to come see me. And that's been hard. And a lot of it has to do with, again, like some of them, they have like financial things, or they got partners and other things that are important to them, and I understand that, but it would be nice to have them out here at least one time. And I don't want them all out here when I'm no longer on this earth. You know, I don't want it to be that time. I would like to build more authentic connections with people and people locally, because I've made some really good connections in my 40s, but there's a lot of people don't live local. They live in other states. And that's okay, because it's nice to have friends that are in different locations. I just like to work on building a community here in my 50s, or wherever I land. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. And this isn't meant to be sad. I'm just an emotional person. I know people think tears are sadness. They're not always sadness. Tears are also a symptom of joy and happiness. And I'm so very grateful that I turned 50 tomorrow, because there are many times I didn't think I'd make it for various reasons. Illness, accident, mental health. I'm glad I'm here. And thank you for being part of my journey up until this point. Let's see where the next 50 years takes me. Oh, one of my biggest goals for my 50s is to run a half marathon. And then when I do that, train for a marathon. So see if I can make that happen. Again, thank you for being part of my journey and listening to me carry on